Hey guys, Youngblood with you, and today I wanted to do a follow-up on my Whole C first look video, as well as the YouTube short that I made regarding this topic, but basically providing you with a more comprehensive guide on how to buy and sell with the Whole C now that it is in-game. The reason for this is really twofold. The first is that the scale that you're trading at is really unprecedented compared to anything else that we've flown. I mean, the C2, which is a monster in its own right, is barely bigger than a caterpillar, though, when you compare the hauling ability. So when the SCU now is in the 4,000 range, it's an entirely different animal. The other reason, and this is important to cover this, is because it doesn't trade like other ships in the game from a mechanics perspective, meaning there's additional steps and less locations that make this possible. So with that in mind, let's jump into it. So let's start real simple on how this goes. The Whole C hauls its cargo on the spindles, and all of the spindles deploy together. So if you're hauling cargo, you need to open and close the spindles in space to be able to collect your cargo, and you can't land with your spindles deployed. That means that you're looking for stations to do this at. Since the Whole C can't land in a hangar with spindles deployed, that means that you need stations with docking capabilities. Since the Whole C trades in such high volume and you can't be in a hangar, you need to look for a cargo deck to help facilitate these transactions. What that means in total is that you're primarily looking, in order to load your Whole C, a space station that has a cargo deck and docking capabilities, which basically means that you're looking for the orbital stations, thus Everest Harbor, Bajini Point, Port Tressler, or the newly introduced Seraphim Station around Crusader that replaced Port Alizar. Now that we have the locations out of the way, let's start simple. If you want to buy cargo for your Whole C, you need to have your Whole C present at the station to be a deliverable location, meaning that you either need to fly it there or claim it at the station that you intend to buy the goods from. Once that's out of the way and your Whole C is where you are, you need to head to the admin office, which is typically located in the Galleria portion of the station, which you can reach through the intra-station elevators that are normally located somewhere between the medical facilities and the habitation space. When in the Galleria, you're looking for the bright yellow doors, which you will need to enter since the terminal on the outside is usually dedicated to crimes and fines. And once you're inside, you will see a commodity terminal for trading. This part's going to follow the normal buy rules that you're familiar with, and since you already made sure that your Whole C was present at the station, you're going to see the Whole C as a deliverable location. Select the commodity that you want to purchase, swallow a Xanax or something to get over the price of how much it's going to fill this monster, and then you go about completing your transaction. While doing this, you will notice that there is a warning that you haven't seen before on the terminal, one that tells you that you will need to involve the cargo deck to get your cargo, and that's a good sign. Many are going to believe the first time that they do this that you actually need to walk down or take the elevator to the cargo deck, again using that intrastation elevator, to do something, but you don't need to do that. There's no magical terminal that you need to find there. It simply means that you need to hail them to have your vehicle loaded up once your ship is launched. So now that you've purchased your goods, let me do a shameless plug reminding you that you can support the channel via Patreon or YouTube membership, and that comes with some pretty great perks, so look for information on that if you have the desire. But getting back to the steps, all you really need to do is head to the hangars and habs area of the station via the elevator, pull your Whole C from the ASOP terminal. It will end up in a hangar most likely because you have no cargo, so it's consolidated and small enough for a hangar. Once you launch your ship and you're out of the hangar, you can hit F11 in your friends list, and you will now see a new entry for the station that you're at, like Everest Harbor Cargo Deck or something like that. What you do is you call them, and once that call has gone through and it already knows that you have cargo that you need to pick up, you will now see a new icon on your HUD along with a visual cue of a green box that you need to fly to. You're going to navigate your hull to that location, and once you get close, you're going to realize that the size of the box is very large. But this is basically just going to be your staging area for your cargo to arrive at. Once there, or on the way, it doesn't really matter, you'll need to extend your spindles, which you can do from the left side of your cockpit with the interaction system, and then it's time to remain stationary for loading. If you don't extend the spindles, you will get a message telling you that you need to do that, or if you haven't stopped moving completely, you will get a message telling you that you need to remain stationary. Once both of those tasks have been completed, the loading will commence, and the time that it takes is entirely dependent on how much you've purchased. I assume that this will eventually be dictated by more than that, like station demand, for example. But you are basically a sitting duck while this happens, and with large purchases, it takes a long time. I also believe that once this is more fleshed out, you will eventually probably see things like drones or Argos or tractor beams involved in this loading process. And once that's the case, it may take longer than it does today because the cargo pops on relatively quickly. Regardless, once the loading is completed, you are free to leave and quantum to sell at whatever location you choose to sell at, as you would with any other commodity trading procedure that you're familiar with. The selling part is a little more simple, even though I am unfortunately lacking footage to show it to you because the game is glitchy right now, and I cannot for the life of me get my whole C back out to show you the sell process. I am fused to Everest Harbor, and I cannot call my ship anywhere else. However, I have done this before in PTU and Evocati, and I know the concepts, so we can talk about those. Since you're already in Quantum and you're theoretically heading to your destination, and once you arrive at the station, you need to request landing. The station should know that based on your ship size and your spindle situation that you need to the docking port, so you'll either be assigned docking port 1 or 2. In order to complete the docking, which may be a new task to a lot of players, you essentially need to line up the reticles on your screen and slowly approach, or for simplicity's sake, you can engage auto dock by holding down N and the ship will do it on its own. With this in mind, I'll probably do a docking video soon because it's going to be more and more and more important as we get bigger ships that do business in different ways. Either way, though, your ship is now docked and it's now time to go and sell your cargo. So you head into the elevator, you go up to the ASOP area, which is where you call your ships from. You catch the intra-station elevator to the Galleria like before and head to the admin office with yellow doors to sell off your cargo. Once that's been completed, you will see a note that you've got an additional task that requires you to engage the cargo deck, which is a function of the volume that you could be carrying. You then need to basically repeat the steps from before, which involves you going back to the ASOP area, taking the elevator to your docking port, hitting F11 and calling the cargo deck to get the green box and the marker that you need to fly to. And once you're back within that green box and stationary, you can just sit there and the cargo will unload. And once that cargo is unloaded completely, you will see the money from the sale in your wallet. The pain of this is basically that once you've sold your goods, you presumably would like to buy goods again and leave again, which means that now you need to request docking, go back and buy, go back to the green box, travel, and do the whole thing again. I think it makes sense for how the game will work long term, and I think it's an important step in the cargo mechanics coming to life, but it's much more time consuming and risky than normal trading where you get a loaded, auto magically in your hangar where you're also protected in the hangar. So regardless of all of that, now that you know how to sell, you may be wondering what you should be trading to leverage the power of the whole sea capacity and how to maximize those routes possible. Each planetary body produces certain things in bulk that the stations above them are responsible for holding, and as a result, they have specific needs. The best known that I'm aware of routing that allows you to pick up goods, travel, sell, pick up, and sell at the next stop so you're never making an empty run, you're kind of on a cycle, are these. Everest Harbor provides iron, which can be sold to Tressler, Bagini, or Seraphim for a profit. Seraphim sells hydrogen, which will make you a profit at all 3 other stations. But you have helium, which will make you a profit at Bagini or Everest, while the copper sold at Seraphim will make a profit at Bagini, Tressler, just at Bagini. Tressler will sell copper to Bagini at a profit, which is about it. Bagini will sell processed food or Hephaestonite to Everest and processed food back to Tressler, and that's about it. So that's a whole lot to throw at you right there, right? But what it all means is that you need to know the routes to maximize your profit. You could pick up iron from Everest and sell to Seraphim, at Seraphim where you pick up hydrogen and return to Everest. You could also pick up iron from Everest, take that to Seraphim to sell, then buy hydrogen to take to Tressler, where you then buy copper to take to Bagini, buying processed food to take back to your starting point of Everest. The options are there, but watching the prices and the margins along with the travel times will end up dictating how you manage this process long term. The last note that I will throw at you is a simple one. The standard drive on the whole sea is painfully slow. The comma is a decently efficient drive, but it takes a long time to get up to maximum speed, and top speed is slow compared to the other options. In the current state of the game, the distances aren't all that great, fuel capacity is high, and profit is determined by speed, so I would almost immediately upgrade if you're into component shopping. Or if you have a hammerhead or another large ship, grab a Pontes and you're going to see much better results that keep you waiting in quantum for far less time. So again, I would consider going out and looking at some of the trading resources that are out there to give you a better idea of what routes you should be doing. But overall, hopefully this gave you what you need to know how to use the ship in the game. As we play with it more and more, we'll continue to break it down as necessary. And as we discover good routes, we're going to cover those too. So if you have any questions, suggestions, or thoughts, get them into the comments. Otherwise, thank you for watching. Stay tuned for more coming soon, and have yourselves a wonderful day. Take care.